What if I told you one text message could completely change the direction of a relationship? Not because it's clever, not because it's romantic, but because it speaks directly to how the human mind works. Most people think attraction grows from saying more. In reality, it often grows from saying the right thing at the right moment. Today, we're breaking down the psychology behind the text that changes everything. And the last principle is the one almost nobody understands. Yet it can completely transform the way someone sees you. We've all been there. You stare at your phone, someone you care about suddenly becomes distant, their replies get shorter, hours pass without a response, your mind starts creating stories. Did I say something wrong? Are they losing interest? So, what should I text now? Most people make the same mistake. They panic, they double text, they explain too much, they chase reassurance. Ironically, those messages usually push the other person even further away. But psychology tells us something different. People don't remember the longest message. They remember the message that changed how they felt. And today, we're going to explore what makes one simple text so powerful. Not because it's a magic sentence, because it reflects emotional intelligence. Let's begin. Part 1. Why most texts fail. Imagine this. Someone doesn't reply for 6 hours. Immediately, your emotions take control. You send, "Are you okay?" Then, "Did I do something?" Then, "I guess you're busy." 3 messages, 3 different emotions, one result, pressure. From a psychological perspective, people naturally resist pressure, even when it isn't intentional. When someone feels responsible for managing another person's emotions, conversations become emotionally heavy. Nobody enjoys carrying that weight. That's why desperate texts rarely create closeness. They create obligation, and obligation is not attraction. Instead of making someone excited to reply, it makes replying feel like work. Part 2. The text that creates curiosity. Now imagine a different situation. Someone cancels plans. Instead of arguing, instead of asking 20 questions, you simply reply, "No worries, hope everything goes well." That's it. Simple, respectful, confident. Why does this work? Because it removes emotional pressure. Psychology calls this autonomy. People naturally appreciate those who respect their freedom. Ironically, when someone expects drama but receives calm confidence, their curiosity increases. They start wondering, why wasn't this person upset? Why are they so emotionally steady? Confidence often speaks loudest through calm behavior, not dramatic words. Part 3. The power of emotional safety. Here's something many people never realize. People don't just look for attraction, they look for emotional safety. Think about the people you enjoy talking to. It's probably not because they always know the perfect words. It's because you never feel judged around them. One thoughtful text can create that feeling. Imagine your friend says, "I'm having a terrible day." Most people immediately try to fix everything. They give advice, solutions, lectures. But emotional psychology shows something surprising. People often want understanding before solutions. Instead, imagine replying, "That sounds really difficult. I'm here if you want to talk." Notice the difference? You're not solving their problem, you're acknowledging their feelings. That builds trust. And trust is the foundation of every meaningful relationship. Part 4. Why timing changes. Everything. Let's talk about timing. The exact same message can have 2 completely different effects depending on when it's sent. Imagine someone just had an important interview, or a stressful exam, or a difficult family situation. Now imagine receiving a simple message, "Thinking about you today, hope everything went well." Short, warm, unexpected. This type of message works because of emotional relevance. It shows attention, not obsession. People remember those who notice important moments, not those who constantly demand attention. Sometimes, the timing is more memorable than the message itself. Quick question. Have you ever received a text that instantly changed the way you saw someone? Maybe it made you smile, maybe it surprised you, maybe it made you realize they truly understood you. Comment below with just one word describing that feeling. I'm curious to read your answers, and keep watching because the next principle explains why saying less can actually make someone think about you more. Part 5. Why less can feel more powerful. Here's something that seems backwards. People often believe longer messages show greater care, but our brains don't always interpret them that way. When emotions run high, short, clear communication often feels stronger. Imagine receiving this: "I appreciate you." Simple, direct, no paragraphs, no explanations, just honesty. Because the message is short, the brain naturally fills in the emotional meaning. Psychologists sometimes describe this as allowing space for interpretation. Instead of overwhelming someone with information, you leave room for emotional reflection. Sometimes silence carries meaning, sometimes simplicity carries confidence, and confidence attracts attention. Part 6. The psychology of appreciation. Think about how often people hear criticism. At work, online, even from themselves. Now think about how rarely they hear genuine appreciation. Not compliments about appearance, real appreciation. Imagine receiving this text. I noticed how kind you were to everyone today. That was really impressive. Specific, authentic, unexpected. Why does this matter? Because our brains remember sincere recognition. When someone notices qualities we value about ourselves, the emotional impact lasts much longer than generic praise. Instead of saying, "You're amazing," try recognizing something real. People trust authenticity, not exaggeration. Part 7. The message that removes fear. Fear quietly affects almost every relationship. Fear of rejection, fear of misunderstanding, fear of saying the wrong thing. One emotionally intelligent text removes fear instead of increasing it. Imagine saying, "Take your time, there's no pressure." Those 7 words communicate something powerful: security. Psychological research consistently shows people feel closer to those who make them feel emotionally safe, not emotionally trapped. Ironically, when people know they have space, they often choose connection voluntarily. Freedom creates comfort, comfort creates trust, trust creates closeness. Part 8. Why authenticity always wins. Here's where many people get it wrong. They search online for the perfect text, the secret message, the words that make anyone fall for you. But human emotions aren't controlled by scripts, they're influenced by authenticity. People become surprisingly good at detecting messages that feel manipulated, even if they can't explain why. Your words matter, but your intention matters even more. If your goal is simply to get a reaction, people often sense it. If your goal is genuine connection, that feeling also comes through. Real communication isn't about tricks, it's about honesty delivered with emotional awareness. Part 9. The text that changes everything. So, what is the text that changes everything? It isn't one specific sentence. It's any message that makes someone feel respected, understood, safe, valued, not pressured, not controlled, not emotionally chased. Imagine receiving this. "I enjoy talking with you. No rush replying. I just wanted you to know I appreciate our conversations." Read that again. There's honesty, confidence, respect, no demands, no guilt, no hidden pressure. That's why messages like this stay in people's minds. Because they don't ask for attention, they create connection, and connection always lasts longer than temporary excitement. Part 10. The biggest lesson. At the end of the day, the most powerful text isn't about changing someone else's feelings. It's about revealing your own emotional maturity. Anyone can send dozens of messages. Few people know how to communicate calmly, patiently, confidently. The people who leave lasting impressions usually aren't the loudest. They're the ones who make others feel comfortable being themselves. That's the psychology most people overlook. Relationships don't become stronger because of perfect words. They become stronger because of consistent emotional experiences. One thoughtful message won't magically change every relationship, but one emotionally intelligent message sent at the right moment can completely change how someone remembers you. Next time you're about to send an emotional text, pause for a moment. Ask yourself one simple question. Will this message create pressure or connection? That single question can completely change the way you communicate, because the best messages don't chase, they don't manipulate, they don't demand. They simply remind someone how it feels to be respected, understood, and appreciated. And that's something people rarely forget. If you enjoyed this psychology breakdown, make sure to subscribe for more videos on female psychology, relationships, and human behavior. Leave a comment below. What do you think makes a text unforgettable? If you found value in today's video, give it a like and share it with someone who could use this insight. Thanks for watching. And remember, sometimes the smallest message creates the biggest change.